back on Get Up with a late December game we like to call one and done or playoff run. Ryan Clark, will Jaden Daniels and the Commanders be one and done, or will they make a playoff run?
The first stinking thing is it all depends on how this season finishes. But I believe they're going to be one and done because I expect them to go to Philadelphia and have to play on the road against the Eagles. If you watch that last game, defensively, Philadelphia played uncharacteristically. Also, there was no Jalen Hurts offensively. But if somehow they slide into that sixth spot and get an opportunity to play the Rams, I believe this scenario could be different.
All right, speaking of the Rams, Mike T, the Rams have an 81% chance to make the playoffs. If they do, will Matthew Stafford and the Rams be one and done, or will they make a playoff run?
Playoff run, Graz, and here's why. You're looking at one of the reasons. Puka Nakua's healthy. Cooper Kupp's back. Matthew Stafford, we know his A game as good as anybody. On the other side of the ball, they've played great red zone defense. They're fifth in the NFL. So when you could keep teams out of the end zone on defense and score with a healthy Stafford and company, they could go make a run a little bit under the radar.
All right, one more for Bart Scott. Will Russell Wilson and the Steelers be one and done, or will they make a playoff run?
Yeah, I don't think they can stop this free fall. They're turning over the ball and at an alarming rate, and they can't do that. They don't have the margin for error, not enough weapons on the outside. And unfortunately, this has been Mike Tomlin's fate for the last couple of trips to the playoffs, one and done. Now that they have to play the varsity, I think they're getting exposed a little bit for the lack of talent they have on the offensive side of football.
So obviously early in the season it was big news when they benched Justin Fields, put Russell Wilson in. First 7 games went pretty well, but the last 3 games, which have been against very tough competition, have not gone as well. QBR is down 20 points, and passing for the Steelers is down 70 yards per game. And his struggles and the Steelers' struggles have led some to question what his future is in Pittsburgh, whether he has one. Our Adam Schefter was on this show yesterday and said Russell's probably not going anywhere.
Russell Wilson has become the guy there, but they're not going to go draft a quarterback in all probability. There are 2 logical first-round quarterbacks. The top free agent quarterback is going to be Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson, who plays in Pittsburgh. You don't see them trading for a quarterback. Again, they're going to have to find a way to build up the rest of the roster. The quarterback is a spot that they're going to probably have to stick with Russell here.
Mike T, you bringing Russell Wilson back if you're the Steelers?
At the right price. You want to win for today and develop for tomorrow. And maybe you don't get that first-round quarterback, as Adam alluded to, but maybe you get one in the second or the third round. So Mike Tomlin's done a great job of managing this situation for a long time. Post Ben Roethlisberger, I think they're still looking, but they can win and look. And I think Russell is at the right price guy, and then keep looking.
I mean, this team's been in quarterback purgatory, right? When you're never bad enough to draft extremely early, which the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't, then you sit at 20 and you pick Kenny Pickett from the University of Pittsburgh, who wasn't the proper guy to replace Ben Roethlisberger. And yeah, they did get off to a hot start with Russell Wilson, but now this team is coming back down to earth, but that's what we expected. Dan, you knew you had to play the Philadelphia Eagles. You knew you had to play the Baltimore Ravens, had to play the Kansas City Chiefs, all within a short period of time. So now it's who can we find outside of George Pickens that can create explosive plays on the outside? It seems like from the run game standpoint, you have to lean more Jalen Warren because you're getting some explosive plays out of him. This team is not built up around the quarterback in order to be great offensively, and now that the defense is showing a couple of cracks, that's why you see these teams losing to some of the upper echelon teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I repeat everything that everybody else said. When you think about the fact that, Russell wasn't turning the football over because he didn't have to put the ball in harm's way. He was able to take those moon shots, get those explosive plays, and the other teams were making the mistakes, and they were capitalizing on them. Just go back to the first Ravens game when they had the 3 turnovers, couldn't make a field goal. Derrick Henry fumbles uncharacteristically. But now he's forcing right here, and we talked about this yesterday. Hawk talked about it, Pickens on the bottom, not doing the little things, not releasing outside, which freed, and didn't run his route and freed up the safety. You can't do that, especially when you're playing against the defending Super Bowl champs. And it's just unfortunate because, Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, is one of his better coaching jobs because what he's had to deal with. We all talked about the controversial move that he made going from Fields, knowing that he needed more offensively and was going to need more. Unfortunately, we didn't foresee, T.J. Watt getting a hand injury and not being effective. Teams have been able to take him out of the game, and he hasn't had the effect that he has had as a game wrecker.
But the other piece of it is, too, let's watch that game, right? There's a football on the ground on punt return. You don't get it.
Right.
Right? There's an opportunity for Patrick Queen to catch the tip football, and he doesn't come down with it. Those were plays they were making. Even when you think about the first Baltimore Ravens matchup, Herbig forces the big fumble early. Patrick Queen with the huge forced fumble as well. Those were the plays that were getting you opportunities to gain extra possessions. This last time against the Baltimore Ravens, Russell Wilson trying to make that extra play, or Darius Washington hits him, the football pops out. You score with Jalen Warren, but you get a holding on Darnell Washington. The next play is the interception. There were things that this team was doing that they're no longer doing. There were plays that they were making that they aren't, and that's put them in this position because they aren't good enough to overcome that.
That's what it sounds like you're describing a team that cannot afford to make any mistakes.
Absolutely, Dan.
And Grass, to that point, I think it comes down to one play. Minka Fitzpatrick turns over Lamar Jackson, who's having this great year. They're down one score. The one thing you can't do is turn the ball over there. He throws a pick six, and I think that one play changes the trajectory of both teams.
So where are they, right? They need to decide what's going to be Russell Wilson's future, and I think Russell Wilson has no options as well. I think Russell Wilson probably has to take a team-friendly type of deal.
He's rich.
So that
He got bait.
But, he ain't turning around no real money, though.
But who's going to, at some point, Russell's going to have to make the decision, what's the best place for me? This is a dude that says he loves positivity, right? If you watch Hard Knocks, there is no one that is more positive with Russell Wilson than Coach Mike Tomlin is. And after coming from Sean Payton, that should be a place you want to be. Someone that's like Pete Carroll, someone that's going to breathe life into you, someone that's going to feel like they want you as their leader. And so Russell Wilson has to understand where he is in his career and what's the best place for him.
And a lot of that could depend on how this season finishes up, right? I mean, you could end up feeling pretty good about things. You win a playoff game or two, or you could end up feeling like I need to go try something else.
Somebody's always watching, man.
Time to play Fact or Fiction. RC, now that the Chiefs have locked up the #1 seed, they should shut down Patrick Mahomes until the playoffs. Is that fact or fiction?
This is absolutely a fact. Patrick Mahomes already said he's about to go have another baby anyway. Give this man more time for paternity leave. Understand that Patrick Mahomes has done everything he could possibly do this season to set you up in the position that you're in. Hosting playoff games throughout. Give him a break. Let him stay off of that ankle. Be as healthy as possible because his health is paramount to your Super Bowl three-peat chances.
Mike T, I know you agree with that, but I'm going to give you a different one. C.J. Stroud has regressed in his second season. Fact or fiction?
Yeah, that's fact, and that's stunning. I mean, you go back a year ago, he had a total of 38 sacks. He's already been sacked 52 times. Now, part of it is he lost Stephon Diggs. Now, unfortunately, they lost Tank Dell. He just isn't playing confidently. Part of it is the interior offensive line. I'm stunned by this because I thought he was on the trajectory of being a superstar.
Yeah, a lot of us thought Houston would take a big jump forward this year, and it doesn't seem like they have. Bart, Josh Allen is playing better than any quarterback in the NFL this year. Fact or fiction?
Negatory, man. You know I'm Buck Nasty, the world's biggest hater. Listen,
What?
talk about Josh Allen. Listen, he gets to feast for 6 weeks against the junior varsity when you talk about the division which he plays in. Listen, Joe Burrow, if he was in the playoffs, he would be the front runner for the MVP. He's having an outstanding season. And you talk about Lamar Action Jackson. Do I need to say what he's doing? Setting all career highs in passing. You talk about QBR. I think it's Lamar Jackson, but we got Lamar Jackson fatigue. When you look at it, Lamar Jackson last week could have padded his stats in the fourth quarter and decided to go for that 1,000 yards rushing so he can be the first quarterback with 4,000 and 1,000. You talk about his touchdown to interception ratio is best. You talk about people thinking Lamar Jackson couldn't throw from the pocket. He's proven that this year.
And you saw the stats there. Obviously, Lamar is on pace to get to 40 touchdowns and 4,000 yards for the first time in his career, having a better year than he did last year, really, when he won MVP. So how do you look at this?
No, absolutely. I think the one thing we're going to look at in those statistics is Josh Allen's rushing touchdown, but they've adopted the tush push. Right. So that's obviously going to pad the stats. And think about this, though. The MVP is a narrative award. Of the quarterbacks that we put on the pantheon of the greats in this era, Josh Allen is the next one that hasn't won an MVP. Patrick has 2. Lamar has 2. We talk about Josh Allen in sort of that same conversation, but when I look at what Lamar Jackson has done this season, he deserves to win the MVP. And then I can look at Josh Allen in the silo and think about what I saw against the Los Angeles Rams. I can think about what I saw in the Detroit Lions win on the road, and you say, well, damn, Josh Allen deserves to win the MVP as well. I think both of these men have played out of their mind. The difficult thing and the hardest reason to pull it away from Lamar Jackson is this is a guy that's already won 2 MVPs, and this is his best performance yet as a pro.
You know, when I wasn't looking down Bart Scott's ear canal, I was doing a little research, and
That sounds disgusting.
It's all good.
I didn't like that.
You've seen worse in the locker room, though.
No, but it also, what's germane to this conversation is Lamar Jackson's 8.9 yards per attempt, meaning he's getting the ball down the field more consistently, more than anybody else. And I brought this expression up before, but when you're in the draft room, you talk about the tape sets the floor and the character sets the ceiling. And I know we're talking about the MVP, but hats off to Lamar Jackson. He was a great player, a 2-time MVP, and he's gotten better.
Yeah.
He's gotten way better. And to me, that's why they're unstoppable, and that's why I would give him the MVP, taking nothing away from Josh Allen.
And now it's apples to apples, right? Because it looks like the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division, so you're going to have 2 division winners. But also, now you go back to the head-to-head, and you saw both guys on the field at the same time. You tell me that day, who did you think was the best player in football?
Dan, I know you know this because you know freaking everything. What was the year with, was it Peyton Manning and Steve McNair?
Co-MVP. Pick a side, RC.
They shared the MVP. No, and
But I mean,
what I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if the voting went that way.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like people, it's not like everybody got together and decided to give it to 2 of them that year.
Yeah.
It's the MVP award's a collection of people's opinions, right? And if it lines up one, but to your point earlier, like Lamar having won 2, like maybe some people might hedge the other way, just because Michael Jordan didn't win it every year, right?
And he should have. People got that personal.
And he did take that personal as.